Good morning, everybody, and I'd like to begin by acknowledging that today we meet on the traditional owners' lands across Victoria and possibly into New South Wales. I welcome you here. I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. So welcome today to the Celebrating Excellence and the Chief Practitioner Awards as we celebrate the end of Child Protection Week. I hope you've had a fabulous week. I'm now really pleased to welcome and wish to acknowledge the opportunity that we've got to have Minister Donnellan here today and to hear from Minister Donnellan a lovely welcoming address.
Thanks, Tracy. I'd also like to acknowledge traditional owners of the land upon which we are, dialing in on today. I'd like to acknowledge leaders past, present and future, acknowledge our Indigenous community as the longest living civilisation in the world and how fortunate we are to be on their lands. What a great week to celebrate a marvellous workforce, a group of people who share and care and love for others. These times it's been so difficult for everybody. That line of sight that is what we're used to in a sense of having someone before us and knowing, getting a sense of whether things are going well or not going well. We're missing a lot of that. I know a lot of it's being done by digital and there's been a lot of innovation. So I guess really what I want to say is thank you. Thank you for really pushing yourselves hard during an incredibly difficult period. We have enormous amount to celebrate. Far too often in this space, we focus on some of the issues. And no doubt there are issues in this space, but let's be very clear, there are a lot more positive outcomes than we give credit for, I think, generally as a community. And I think this award ceremony, celebrating the excellence and so forth, is part of that, is to ensure that, sure, we have things that go wrong, but geez, 9 times out of 10, things go well. And I think that's what, in many ways, today is all about, is recognising that. So I just want to say from the state government's point of view, thank you for the love and the caring. It's a difficult role. It's a role my mother undertook for many years. I'm very happy to be minister, but I don't know whether I could cope emotionally and mentally with what you all go through every day in terms of the decisions you need to make. So I'm very happy to sit in the role as a minister, but I have enormous admiration for your capacities to deal with these difficult things, and congratulations to all those who put in, and congratulations and thank you for the opportunity to say a few words, Tracy.
Thank you, Minister Donnellan, and good morning, everyone. My name's Kirsty Lomas and I'm the statewide Principal Practitioner for Child Protection. So before I start, I too would like to acknowledge Aboriginal people as the traditional owners of the lands that we're meeting on today, all across Victoria and probably into New South Wales as well, and pay respects to elders past, present, future, and to all Aboriginal people joining us today. I'd also like to take the opportunity to echo the words of Justin Muhammad, Commissioner for Aboriginal Children and Young People, at Part B of our symposium on Wednesday, that Aboriginal children and young people are the elders of our future. We heard reminders about the importance of language and the impact that language has on Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. And to understand how we need to move forward, we first need to understand where we've come from. Such important messages about breaking the cycle and the overrepresentation of Aboriginal children and young people in care, and we all have a role in changing that. I also want to take this opportunity to acknowledge all of my colleagues in child protection across the state. The work that we do is not easy. It's often really hard and it's challenging, but it is the most important work. And I often reflect on how proud I am to tell anyone who's even half willing to listen that child protection is my profession, it is my career, and that I don't ever really see myself doing anything different. It would certainly be easier at times when you meet someone new and they ask, where do you work? To say that I work for the public service or something broad like I work with children. But I'm never one to take an easy option. And I often reply with, I work in child protection, the response is one of misunderstanding about the role that we play in the safety and wellbeing of vulnerable children. Comments like, your job is to take children away from parents, or that must be a terrible job, provide an excellent opportunity to educate on what we actually do with children and families every day. And it's usually that point where my husband walks away and leaves me to it, as he's heard my very proud spiel about 1,000 times. It is such a privilege to be before you all today as we celebrate Practice and Child Protection Week. So my role today is to introduce you all to a video which celebrates the excellence in practice and working through adversity that occurs across our state every day. And I'm not surprised that the theme of National Child Protection Week this year, which is putting children first, is very much reflected in the words that you'll hear shortly. It is the practices of listening to children's experiences, taking a strengths-based approach to working with families, connecting and collaborating with services, encouraging and building resilience, and having a shared responsibility to the safety and wellbeing of children that are a demonstration of what excellence in practice looks like. And as I finish and introduce the video of our principal practitioner group celebrating practice that happens from one end of our state to the other, I just want to remind of some of the messages from Eileen Munro in a session with us earlier this week, that we all, no matter what level of experience, formal knowledge or practice wisdom we have, need help to reflect on practice, judgments and decisions, and the really important work we do with children and families every day. This needs to happen not only in supervision, but with other colleagues who can help us to think things through. The thinking and the reflection are critical to better outcomes. So the principal practitioners that you are about to see all play a critical role in that reflection and overall practice leadership in child protection. At the conclusion of the video, we'll hear from Chris Esquini, Deputy Secretary, Community Services Operations Division. So I'll end there by saying Happy Child Protection Week to you all, and enjoy the next 20 minutes or so of a celebration.
So welcome East Division Principal Practitioners. We've got Sally Steinberg from Inner East. Give us a wave, Sally. And we've got Rebecca Eberl from Ovens Murray.
Hi.
And John Mixad from Goulburn.
Hi, everyone.
And we've got Gary Miller from Outer East.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, and then I'm Julie Warren, acting statewide PP currently. So welcome everybody today, and I think we should probably explain to the audience a little bit about our background.
We thought that this encompassed a lot of different things. East, achieving safety together. So the idea that we're all working towards safety together, that's safety for children, safety for families, but also safety for the workers in the workplace.
So you may want to copyright that motto now. Safety being kind of one of the words in the motto. So can you talk to us about some examples of keeping children safe within the East Division?
I think for me it is something about the, and I know we've made up this motto, but it is something about achieving it together. It's about how we work together with our children and families, how we work in partnership with our agencies and how we support each other. And I think all those combine to help us to achieve safety for children.
Listening to children and hearing their experiences, not just what they say, but also listening to and understanding their experiences, I think helps us to keep them safe or help them to be safer, because we're not all making assumptions all the time about what is and isn't okay. What the actual experiences are of a child can be quite different to what we might first think when we go in. So I think real focus on what the children's experiences are helps them to be safer.
In Outer East particularly, I think probably more because of the change in working conditions with the current COVID environment. I'm just really impressed by the way that our practitioners have maintained a really strong work ethic. Even though they're, split between offices, some are part-time, some are full-time, some are home all the time, but they've all maintained that strong work ethic. And I think they've used, platforms like Teams to, take time to properly reflect on cases as if they were working in the office.
Clearly that's something you're proud of within the area and within the division. So how do you kind of celebrate success within your respective areas?
Personally, in terms of success, I always make sure I try to, contact or reach out to a particular practitioner.
Just following on from what Gary was saying, I think for me it's in the in the small things and in the big things. So it's in what might not seem like a huge achievement to you. For a practitioner, it might be. So in consultation and when I'm just talking to practitioners, just really getting them to articulate, what it is that they're proud of, what have they achieved, what is an achievement for them, and celebrating that.
I find that emails with managers copied in are a really good starting point, just to really highlight those specific areas of practice that the worker's been able to do really well. And that usually provides a platform for awards down the track, which we do save those emails for. So I think they're really important.
In terms of final messages, as the most senior practitioners in your areas, I'm just wondering, how do you maintain your motivation and your commitment?
I think you've got to keep structure and routine. You have to have structure. So whether that's in all areas of your life, not just work, but children's schooling, exercise, meal times, you have to maintain that structure. Otherwise, you just start to drift within yourself. It's not about the work, it's about you.
Maintaining empathy and curiosity as well. Just going back to the basis of our practice all the time, and just getting back in touch with what you value most, the reasons why you do the job, why you continue to do the job, and just, having those conversations, short conversations with people about, reminding ourselves about what we can achieve every day, even though when it feels sometimes like you're not.
Yeah. I think I agree with that too, Sally, and I think just remembering that our job is really important and it has a lot of meaning. Our workers make such a difference every day to the children and families they work with. Everyone should be very proud of the work they do, being champions for, social justice and equity in your own area.
Final thoughts, Gary?
Yeah, just in terms of motivation, I think John's quite right, having structure, but also the child protection work is quite a social workplace. And that's been, effectively, particularly in Melbourne anyway, been taken away from us to a great extent. So it's about taking all those little opportunities to maintain, keep in touch, whether it's informally or formally, take part in meetings, because it is very easy for isolation just to take over and you just get on with your work. So maintaining contact is really important for me. And in terms of advice, I just think that, obviously at some point in the future, our work will go back, but I think that it's an opportunity not to go back to business as usual. It's kind of an opportunity to look at what we've learned from this whole, endeavour over the last 6 months or so, and perhaps even add to our practice.
Yeah. All right, thank you, guys. Thank you for your contribution to Child Protection Week and your contribution to Child Protection Programme every week, and everyone achieving safety together.
Welcome to Child Protection Week. It is my absolute pleasure to be here today with the West Division Principal Practitioners, Kelly, Miriam, Emma, Cherie and Alison, collectively and affectionately known to me as Westies. Firstly, I'd like to take the opportunity to acknowledge the work of every child protection practitioner, leader and manager in the division. Now I'm going to hand over to Kelly to explain why the theme of connection and collaboration was chosen. Over to you, Kelly.
Thanks for that, Christy. As a PP group across the West, we spoke unanimously about how our respective areas have rapidly and collectively pulled together for the benefit of children and families. So it was no surprise that connection and collaboration was a topic we wanted to highlight with you. Your ability to be flexible and leverage off one another's strengths and expertise has not gone unnoticed. Additionally, I wanted to take a moment to call a shout out to my colleagues in Barwon. What you are asked to do each and every day is not an easy ask. But how you've managed that in the past 5 months truly has been incredible. You have all stayed committed to Victoria's most vulnerable population. Your dedication and commitment to the work that we are doing despite the challenges of COVID-19 truly is inspiring. As in all mass crises, the world will not be the same as it was before. But your voice and your commitment will support and facilitate a vision beyond this crisis. I have no doubt that you will continue to take whatever COVID-19 throws at you and not get knocked off your feet. You will continue to step up to the challenges you are faced, dig deep, link together, and rise above for the purpose of achieving the best outcomes for children and family. Over to you, Emma.
Hi everyone, I'm Emma and I'm the Principal Practitioner for Wimmera Southwest. And in the Wimmera Southwest, we're really proud that we stay connected to each other and our practice through our reflective practice sessions. We were quickly able to move them online and discover ways to create trust, warmth and a focus on what we do well, which is connect with kids and their families. Happy Child Protection Week. Over to you, Marianne.
Thanks, Emma. I'm Marianne Martin. I'm the Principal Practitioner, Central Highlands. I love what Emma's said about reflective practice, because in Central Highlands we've also enjoyed a lot of time together reflecting and connecting about our practice. We've been able to share our experiences and think about what's worked and solve problems together. It's also been really exciting to see the work that's happened in the case conference space and with our high-risk youth and our intensive infant response. There's been so much strength in the way that we've been able to come together. I hope you enjoy Child Protection Week. Make time to read and reflect and share together all of your success. Your work doesn't go unnoticed. Over to you, Cherie.
Hello, my name's Cherie. I'm the Principal Practitioner for Western Melbourne Child Protection. It's lovely to be connecting with you all. Here in Western Melbourne, I'm really proud of the amazing work we've been doing in care teams. I think, as you all know, connecting by video conference has allowed us to get to know each other on a different level, particularly our professionals in other agencies, you know, seeing literally inside your homes, meeting some wonderful pets and children, the random partner that will walk through the background. It's been really wonderful just to see how well we can support each other in such a diverse way of working. Over to you, Alison.
Thanks, Cherie. I just wanted to acknowledge the amazing work that we've done within the Broombank Melton area. For me, when we talked about contact and connection, I really thought about how we've been so creative and thoughtful about how we as practitioners connect with the children that we work with to make sure that we understand them and their needs and how they need to be supported during such crazy and unusual times during COVID-19. But not only how do we connect with children, but what we've been able to think about how we can connect children with their family members, not only parents, but brothers and sisters and grandparents and beyond. I think you've done phenomenal work at thinking about how we can support children during this time. And I know that that's been reflected across the west of the state as well. Happy Child Protection Week.
I'm Dr. Sharon Gilroy. I am the Principal Practitioner for Statewide Services.
Hi, Sharon. Today I'm going to ask you a few questions. The first question that I want to ask you about is what you believe are the key elements that inform your practice leadership.
Okay, there's 3 pillars on which I draw. The first one I'd like to mention is around theory, research and the evidence base under which I work. And I would say under the current circumstances, there are 3 key elements to that, and that is around mental health, understanding of mental health, and the understanding of being trauma-informed really means, and an understanding of disaster recovery theory and research. The other things to keep in mind is the policy framework in which informs our work, and years of experience in the field and practice wisdom.
What do you think will be different going forward, different ways of doing the work, but also different ways of leading and thinking about the work that you may take out of this COVID pandemic response?
We've had to adapt our entire workforce and practice guidelines and our policy to accommodate the situation in which we're in. And I think out of that, we've seen some really innovative solutions to some of the problems that we've experienced. And some of those things have been worried about for many years, and under the pressure of this current situation, we've actually found the solutions, and we found them pretty quickly. But as would be expected, you know, they're not without the need for some tweaking to actually make them functional and operational, and to meet the needs of our service. Anything else that I'd like to share is, you know, even though that we're going through this really unusual disaster, that we've got names for, and that is very, very challenging in all the work that we do. What I see is that people really rally together, and I'm really proud to work for this department and see how people rally together and do not lose sight of children and their needs, and that continues on a day-to-day basis. And it is happening always, but it's happening under this really challenging time. So I really want to say thank you.
I'm happy to be introducing and speaking with the principal practitioners for South Division. Delighted to introduce Dee Hart, Jenny Jones, Neil Hicks and Catherine McQueen. How would you describe your area?
Giving some thought to it, I would describe Outer Gippsland as kind of emergent. I think the kind of move to area has, allowed us to start to find some identity and some capacity to start to grow into a kind of quite strong, exciting region. Mm.
Oh, I would describe the area like an old friend, often probably demanding, but missed when not around and trusting in times of pressure.
So I would say a proud tiger. So sleek and smooth with a few rough patches of fur, and every now and again there's some teeth and claws.
What drives your area to do what it does?
Passion, commitment and perseverance.
I think that Outer Gippsland is it's actually quite beautiful down here. So there's beaches, mountains, wilderness, nice little communities. And I think that having that connection to the natural world allows and sustains and supports people in really challenging work that they do. Mm.
Improving to get the best possible outcomes for children and families that we work with. I know that's a bit rhetorical, but it really is what drives us, I think.
But I've been really struck by the absolute passion and commitment to improving the situations of vulnerable children and keeping them connected to family and culture has really been a standout for me.
What has really made you proud to be part of your area during COVID?
I think that our staff have worked so well with the children and families to reduce their anxiety, and they've also gone that extra step to make sure they look after each other.
What's made me proud to be part of it? I think that, having been in Outer Gippsland, we this year, we suffered really severe bushfires for quite a long time that impacted really significantly on the staff and the communities and the families and children carers that we work with. And that was on the top of years of drought for really depleted communities, and then slam bang into a pandemic. And we still have a, dedicated team of workers that show up every day and do hard work. So I do feel proud of that.
What makes me proud as part of the Inner Gippsland team is that, during this COVID time, which is a one-in-a-lifetime situation, the commitment to try to continue to provide quality service.
So what's making me proud at the moment is absolutely people really turning up to do their jobs every day and mostly with a smile on their face. Sometimes there's tears, but, really being kind to each other and really just staying very committed to doing really, really hard work under normal circumstances, and it's even more challenging at the moment.
What are your hopes for your area during the rest of 2020 and moving into 2021?
For me, I hope that staff realise just how dedicated they are and they take a moment to celebrate that. And they realise just how capable they actually are at what they do.
I think it kind of goes back to what I was saying before about how Outer Gippsland is sort of emerging, and we're sort of, developing quite a strong, stable leadership team, and I think that it's providing us with a really nice, exciting sort of vision of where we might go to in the future.
Putting to bed the COVID problems as much as we can, as possible, and developing, I suppose, and implementing a area response to trying to get our heads around restoration of services post-COVID.
And I guess I want to add on to what Neil was saying, that I hope in 2021 COVID's not the only story that we're still telling, but that actually all the other, really strong and creative work and plans that have been underway continue to be come into focus and can be fulfilled.
What has been your biggest accomplishment, your area's biggest accomplishment, I should say, during isolation?
I think for me, it's proven that tough times don't last, but tough people do. And I think me, along with the rest of my teams, have proved that we are up to the challenge of COVID and anything else that is brought to us.
I think it's kind of that team, like we know that surviving in child protection is about the support that you can have from the people that you work with, and finding creative ways to maintain and support those connections.
I suppose, as other people have said, I mean, the leadership team's commitment to the collegiate support, staff support.
My laptop just crashed, so I had to quickly join you guys on my phone. So I feel like that sums up some of the experience of working with people continuing to do really complicated and complex work and persist with their creative problem solving around situations where other services around them are no longer doing any face-to-face work, but continuing to find ways to support children and keep them safe.
I'm Ruby Warber. I'm a Noongar woman from Western Australia. I am the statewide PP for Aboriginal children and families.
My name is Rob Karukan. I'm the principal practitioner for Loddon area.
So I'm Jackie Spencer. So I am work over the Mallee. Yeah, we have a really big community in Mildura and Swan Hill. So we're really proud of that. We have a big ACO. I have many peers that I work with very closely. So we've got a great community here in the Mallee that I work with.
Hi, I'm Christy Gardner. I'm acting in the principal practitioner role for Northeast Melbourne area. Very new to the acting experience. I think this is maybe week number 5. My usual position is the practice leader for Northeast Melbourne area.
So my name's Amanda Gillam. I'm the principal practitioner in Hugh Moreland. We're a very diverse community. We work with people from a variety of different cultures, and we have really strong connections with our community organisations.
What do you most admire about your teams that work in your area?
I think Hugh Moreland, I was given this a lot of thought, and I think Hugh Moreland, we all come together. So I think as a group, we support each other. We're a learning team, so we learn together. We reach out for support when we need it, and we utilise the department as a whole, but we also utilise the community for better outcomes for the families and the children we work with.
From NEMA's perspective, I think we're just very similarly, I guess, to Hugh Moreland, but we're just very good at caring for each other and supporting each other. I think COVID has really highlighted how great we are at recognising what our colleagues need and how we can best give each other some help where we need it. I think we're a really fun area too. I mean, the amazing kind of morale boosters that some of the practitioners have come up with to really keep things lighthearted and fun, even in a really, really difficult and challenging time.
I guess the test of any team is how they manage a crisis. And I think that in Loddon, through this COVID-19 pandemic, I think it's really highlighted some amazing attributes across the staffing group. There's resilience, there's an incredible amount of support and care for one another. There's a sense of a can-do type attitude. I feel that we're part of an unfolding kind of journey. It hasn't stopped us in our tracks, this pandemic, this crisis. We know we've continued with developing ourselves.
I think anybody that visits the Mallee, and Rob, you can probably attest to this, is that, they do find us quite unique and we're very welcoming. We love having people from across the state come and support us. And be part of our team. And I think what else is unique is despite having our offices sort of 250 kilometres apart, there's a real closeness and camaraderie in terms of our area, in how we work together, how we pick up and support each other. In different times, we are travelling between those offices quite frequently, like weekly at least for some of us. And if there's ever any support needed, it's really easy to get.
Like, what do you think are the values that underpin the work that your teams do every day?
And I guess I can't say it more. Relationships are everything to us in the Mallee. We work in a very small community. Particularly our Swan Hill colleagues. It's a really small community. If you don't have good relationships, it's really difficult to work in communities of that size.
Something we really value, though, in NEMA as well is just empowerment. And I think we really let that kind of permeate throughout all of our work. So the work directly with families and thinking about how we can actually give them the resources and the skills to be able to manage on their own without us and within the community, but also with our staff and how we can upskill our staff and help them to have the resources to be able to do the really good quality work that they need to do with clients.
I think in Hugh Moreland we're very strengths focused, so we're very good at working with the family's strengths and the children's strengths and building on those strengths. And I think we have a good sense of social justice as well, and empathy.
Would like to just add by saying that part of not working in silos is, for me and for I think Loddon, is to be inclusive and to show and to demonstrate respect for one another, to I guess acknowledge difference as well and respect that we all handle things and think things differently, but collectively we can really make a difference to the lives of children and families that we work with.
Good morning, everyone. Chris Esquini. Good morning, everyone. Chris Esquini, Deputy Secretary, Community Services Operations. I hope I'm on. I was just talking to myself for a few minutes there. Can I begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the lands that we're meeting on today, pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and all DHHS Aboriginal staff who do such a wonderful job in working for and with their communities. I'd also like to acknowledge Minister Dinellan and thank him so much for taking part, not just in today's celebrations, but more broadly in the activities for the week and the various opportunities he's had to express his thanks and gratitude for the work that you do and the work that our sector colleagues do. So thank you very much, Minister Dinellan. Really appreciate you being part of our Child Protection Week activities. I'm sorry I wasn't able to join you from the beginning this morning. I had a few other commitments, but I was able to hear the principal practitioners speak and highlight the passion about their areas and what works really well for them in their areas, their particular areas, the similarities and the differences. It was fantastic to understand from you how many new innovations really and opportunities have been created through the pandemic. So thank you very much for your contribution. It's really interesting to me, just in the sort of conversations I have with our community sector colleagues, the way in which they describe the opportunities that have been created through the use of technology and how that has brought us together to really work differently with children and their families, all with the objective really of making lives better for children, young people and their families. So it's fantastic. I think that we've been able to, through the sort of adversity that we've faced here in Victoria, to understand how it is that we've come together collectively to work to support children and families. So thank you from me to you for the way in which you've approached the work during this very difficult and challenging times. And just to share a little bit with you before I sort of wind up, but we have had some opportunities to meet with international and interstate colleagues or have conversations with them. And just to understand where we sit with the way in which we're doing our work during this time. And interestingly, I think we thought we had a lot to learn from them, but they found the interactions with us just as valuable, and sharing those ideas about how we have come together to work differently to support children and families has been a real opportunity for us to learn, but also to share. And I think that is manifestly the way in which we've approached our work with our community sector colleagues during this time. Child Protection Week's been a different week this year, but I think it's really opened our eyes to how important it is to have continued with the range of activities that we've done during Child Protection Week. And I really want to call out everybody who's contributed to the way in which the week events have rolled out. I know that we've been able to reach very many people through this medium in ways that we haven't done before. So at one level, I'm a bit disappointed we weren't able to go to the MCG or have our Protecting Victorian Vulnerable Children's Awards with our sector colleagues. In another way, this has given us an opportunity to engage with you differently during this week, and definitely I think is something that we will take forward into next year. So I did want to take again the opportunity just to thank everybody for pulling together the agenda for this week. Thank you for your participation in the week. I hope that you found it interesting, an opportunity to reflect and hear from a range of speakers, all with the aim of, one, supporting you in the work that you do, but also looking after your health and well-being. On that note, I am pleased to hand over to Tracy Beaton, our Chief Practitioner. Tracy will share this year's Chief Practitioner Award nomination and announce the winners. So thanks very much, everyone. Really appreciate it. And over to you, Tracy.
Thank you, Chris. As always, I'm amazed by the commitment of practitioners and of you as our practitioners and leaders in child welfare. I have loved hearing about practice, particularly over this time. It really does maintain my motivation and a sense of purpose that makes a difference. I think we make a difference every day. So as Chris said, this year is different. Usually we have 4 nominations for the Chief Practitioners Award and just 1 award. But Tyria said to us at the beginning of the week, we need to reframe things. And this year, that means I get to work with your areas to celebrate you and all you've done in a more fulsome way, and I'm grateful for that. So not only have you sustained practice in adversity, you've also delivered above and beyond. And for all of us, we've had to sustain the challenges that working from home presents, the changes to our relationships and the ways that we do things. None of that is without consequence. And we've had to focus on keeping an eye on children. I am very honoured to be part of a program that values the lives and wellbeing of children and families, and I'm sure you do as well. So this year, what we did was we asked your principal practitioners to work an area to provide a nomination for each area. So as you know, there are 17 areas and statewide services, so we should have had 18 nominations, but clearly our principal practitioners are pretty amazing at practice, but not so good at counting. We've got 28 nominations this year, and so the nominations are for statewide services, the team first nominated for statewide services is rural solicitors. This team works across 9 rural areas and are responsible for supporting practice in more than 20 regional magistrate court locations. They have outstanding commitment in difficult circumstances. They are collaborative, have adapted to change, and made such a significant impact on the preparation and outcome and readiness hearings. Further nomination for statewide services is a combination of the Refugee Minor Program and the After Hours team that went into the Towers. The difficult and important work of both After Hours and our Refugee Minor Program may be less visible than direct service of our day-to-day child protection program. However, both services have earned the admiration of their colleagues throughout the department for their work on a range of COVID-19 responses which are critical to government planning and to public safety. The work of these two teams is commendable, as is their willingness to work together to support families and communities. And the third nomination for statewide services is the After Hours In Reach team. The team have been flexible, creative, and have kept children safe. This new arm to the After Hours service response has been focused, professional, and outstanding in a time when we've had to adapt to new ways of working. The team is extraordinary in its commitment to achieving the best outcomes for children and families in this time of great risk. For the North, the nominations are the NEMA practice leaders, 2 Aboriginal family conveners, Vicky Ross and Amanda Tully. Vicky and Amanda are recognised as powerful trailblazers. They are leaders enabling the voices of Aboriginal children, their families and communities to be heard. Working with VACA's community convener Sam, over an 8-month period they convened 59 AFLDMs reconnecting children. The work that they did enabled families to find their strength and for children to reach their full potential. Another nomination from NEMA is the Area Child Protection Team Managers. That's Natasha Sergeant, Amanda Tanner, Bianca Palmero, Kevin Vale, Amanda Burrell, Sarah Maison, Chloe Zammit, Sean Casey, Lauren Bell, Tammy Lewis, Tanya O'Connor, Nicole Arbuckle, Catherine Brocado, Deborah Phillips, Gerald Brown, and Liz Kesigan. So this team is described as agile and wise with an abundance of patience, creativity, and they're solution focused. This collective of strong, capable leaders have focused on leadership, collaborative practice, and communication to focus on implementing an integrated client response model to make statutory and care responsibilities we have for children happen without compromise. The second, a further nomination for the North, is the Mallee area team, and there are 2 nominations for the Mallee. The first nomination is in recognition of the service that they provide over 600 kilometres of the Mallee terrain and with offices 250 kilometres apart. When COVID hit this team and it impacted with our first positive case within our staff group, the practitioners across Mildura and Swan Hill swiftly responded. They transformed roles and responsibilities to make things happen for children and families. Staff were so responsive, considered, and again, agile. The second nomination for the Mallee recognises the importance of professionalism, lifting practice, holding themselves to account in their court practice, and that's been really important. So the team rely on legal support from other areas. Despite this, they are and have been complimented on the quality of focus in their court reports. They value evidence and timeliness, and they are a proud team, and we should be proud of them. Hume Moreland area, case practice support team Leanne Wood and Carolyn Sutherland are another nomination, and this was received because of the extraordinary practice that occurred as they demonstrated determination to support a young 15-year-old boy. This boy experienced significant tragedy, physical, sexual and psychological harm and trauma. What is extraordinary about this practice is that they focused on the lived experience of that boy and his mother to create safety, a platform for recovery and hope, and of course they held the perpetrator to account by working systemically. Hume Moreland Area Innovation and Leaving Care Team, Sian Bowen, Courtney Smith, Angela Collier and Zoe Probin are also nominated, and this team have worked tirelessly to find a way for young people to engage in absolute meaningful leaving care planning. They've done that through relationships, having aspirations for young people, and working with young people to see their futures as positive. They've used a structured approach to considering, focusing and implementing outcomes for young people leaving care. The Hugh Moreland area team, Freya Bartle, Carla Tarrant, Alicia Bugden, Madeline Graham, James Dungy, Lucy Carabidian, Brittany Bowman, Jenna Toms, Amanda Gillum, Sian Bowen and Veronica Martin have also been nominated. The team worked with a very challenging family group of 6 children. All children had significant complex needs, but through careful planning and consideration of how you might maintain the developmental needs of each child, at the same time hold a family together, they found a way. Their focus had been on meeting the needs of those children while sustaining the need for them to be together as a sibling group. Loddon Area Child Protection MDC team with Jay McCartan, Herbert Hornsby, Sarah Bansgrove, Alicia Gauchi, I think it is, Matthew Carr and Kim Connolly. So the expertise of this team has been recognised and comes from their collaboration with their MDC partners. But also it comes from their ability to recognise and prioritise the quality of practice and investigations. This team are recognised by many as being expert practitioners in interviewing children where there are sexual abuse concerns. So that's the end of the North nominations. We'll now go to the South. We're starting off with the Outer Gippsland team managers: Zoe King, Tracy Scoble, Katrina Lynch, Danielle Flint, Martin Sheldon and Shelley Henry. This group are committed, resilient and professional. They have worked on their team culture, spirit and focused on the needs of children and young people. They've worked in adverse conditions given the years of drought that they've experienced. And of course, earlier this year, the area was devastated by severe bushfires. They have had to be agile, they've had to be responsive, and they absolutely are. The next nomination in the South is for Southern Melbourne Area Investigations and Response, with Kim Schneider, Anita Dillick, Ashley Leach, Quandale Dawa, Helen Brown, Emma Gilbert, Simone Mimis and Jessica Robbins being the nominees. And connections to community embody the approach of this team. The team have worked tirelessly to connect children to family, to community, and to make sure children can get where they need to go. So an example that they shared was their creativity in family finding and then completing assessment of kinship care using FaceTime. And of course, that's the way that we're all often working now. Their work paid off for the children that they were working with, and they got them where they needed to go. They drove them to meet their family in Mildura. And what I really liked about this example, of course, was the work that they did to actually reduce the children of the trauma on the children. They knew where they needed to go, and they were able to support them and get them there appropriately, of course. The next nomination is Bayside Peninsula Investigation and Response Team with Jodie Crisp, Michaela Abrahams, Michelle Lever, Suzanne Worsley, Sarah Furrer, Jana Shulkin, Jade Percival and Andrea McKay. And the key feature of this team has been their commitment to professional judgment and responsivity to children and families. The team has been absolutely focused on holding steadfast to the needs of children, and they've done that in cases where there is significant complexity. The team is described as cohesive, innovative, and consistent in their commitment to working through complexity. And working through this nomination, they're smart, and that's my word, not theirs, because from what I could see, they use evidence well, exercise judgment in predicting and working with risk. In a Gippsland Area Investigation Response Team with Kylie Hodges, Marcus Telfick, Laura Cawthon, Celeste Costello, Marina Chernovish, Agnes Lockhart, Susan Geddes-Hendricks and Sarah Peterson. So this team was nominated because of their focus on the importance of finding the right place for children and the right outcomes. Central to this team's practice is respect and regard for collaboration and the importance of children being with family. This means you have to make that happen whilst maintaining safety, and that's been a focus for that team, and they've done that really well. So we now move to the East nominations, the Goulburn Area Investigation and Response Team with Donna Elliott, Tatinda Zamutzu, Kate McKay, Lani Mola, Alan Muntz, Henry Nadler and Leanne Wheat. This team have implemented a new model that they've called the Goulburn Structured Response Model. And this means that they're managing their work differently. But in a way, what they've done is that they've really focused their attention on what needs their attention. The team is very proud of their achievements and recognise that the last 6 months due to COVID has been an unprecedented challenge, but they have met that with absolute integrity and great effectiveness. So congratulations. The Goulburn Child Protection Team is another nominee with Donna Elliott, Steve Lahi, Pushpa Nadu, Hannah Ruris, Julie Evans and Brett Jobling. So the teamwork in this team has been profound. What they've described is working with a boy who was in a situation of great physical and sexual harm with no one that actually believed him. And in fact, everybody thought that he was safe. He tried to tell people about what was happening. We were involved at the time, but couldn't find evidence. Now, that team didn't give up. What they did was that they worked tirelessly to create safety for the child. And when he felt sure that they would believe them, that he would be believed, he was able to share what was happening with him with his child protection worker. And they did believe him. What that actually meant for him is that he and his siblings are now safe. Inner East Area Child Protection Practice Group with Karinya Amor, Belinda Denham, Lena Pantolios, Erica Wood, Madison Keefe, Jennifer Ward and Jennifer Scott have been nominated. The team has shown great strength as they've embarked on a program of work that is all about cultural change and practice improvement. This team identified that they needed to make significant changes, and they've been open to reflection. They've had to build trust together. They've had to work on that. They've had to reduce anxiety around risk, and they've done that systemically, strategically, and with purpose. They have 6 areas of focus that they've been using to develop their practice, informed by an independent review of 165 cases. They are constantly working to improve their practice. The Outer East Case Contracting Team with Fiona Poon, Marina Matajevic, John Perrin, Chen Ni Man, Helen Sohn and Kay Mamambu. This team have focused on collaboration and creating opportunity for children and young people. And they've worked tirelessly too on building effective relationships with others to ensure effective pathways for children to be in the best place that they can be. This team focused on finding and reuniting children with families where they can, regardless of geography. The Ovens-Murray Area Investigation and Response Team with Carly White, Louise Parkinson, Jacinta Deegan, Fazana Sondulu, Matthew Del Bosco, Tennille Sweeney, Chloe Williams and Tracy Parmesan. This team uses critical reflection to make sense of children and families' experiences, and a willingness to use critical reflection effectively means that they've been much more open to see what might be occurring for children. Through this process, they're developing collective wisdom to progress case practice and a way of actually challenging different ideas and looking at what alternatives might be for children. The final nomination for the East is the Ovens-Murray Area Case Contracting Team with Lisa Moss Holland, Kerry Sanderson, Candy Edge, Tanya Shea Andrews and Lisa Angrove. They are working with children where placement instability occurs often, and the vulnerability this creates for children and young people is palpable. This team are calm, they're focused and they're collaborative. They hold great risk and support agencies and others to work in the best interests of children. They are respectful of others but maintain holding the best interests of children and young people as central to their engagement of others. We'll now move to the West Division. And the first nominee is the Bring Back Melton Area Case Management Team with Laura Neverman, Meldina Humarovic, Tanya Jewell, Taylor Mitchell, Eve Lamb, Jack Davies, Psyche Driscoll and Daniela Sherwin as the nominees. And to quote Alison Norbury, their PP, it hasn't been plain sailing for this team, but whenever is it in child protection? This team have been especially challenged with a number of critical incidents, and they've worked with a number of very complex families and multiple high-risk concerns. Even with those issues present, the team have consistently ensured that the child and their needs remain central to all that they do. Central Highlands Area Case Practice Support Team, Lanice Bell, Hayley Smith, Carly Newitt, Taylor Dryden, Catherine McDonald, Keegan Jenkins, Angela Norman and Tegan Parker have been nominated. And they've been nominated in Central Highlands because they've demonstrated flexibility in a very demanding work environment. The team have exercised calm and patience as they have partnered with children and families and other practitioners to progress contact and connection plans for families. They've shown great strength in their communication with each other and been responsive and timely in all of their work. They've worked hard to organise their work and apply all of the new practice guidance that's been provided to them in the COVID environment. Barwon Area Case Management has been nominated with Georgina Elwin, Wendy Binns, Ines Pirovic and Samra Beljevic. The commitment and focus of this team to support a young person subject to sexual exploitation is second to none. The relationship skills and hard work of the practitioners in this team have really changed the trajectory of this young person's life. As all of us know, trust is often a significant issue for children and for the children and young people that we work with, and this team works hard to develop this consistently. That results in outcomes. Wimmera Southwest Area has been nominated. No particular team has been nominated for the Wimmera, just all of them, which I think is really important because what they've talked about is the importance of demonstrating agility and a willingness to work from home. So you'll know the geography and the challenges that brings. They have practitioners on farms who can't see their nearest neighbour and practitioners in share houses in the centre of town who can hear their housemates through the wall. So they've had to work really hard at staying connected, and they've started weekly catch-ups together with their director to work through issues, share learnings and challenges. And those catch-ups have actually helped them support each other and overcome challenges in really positive ways. Western Melbourne Area Case Management Team with Rose Verger, Kerry Simpson and Russell Savage have been nominated. And this team provided exceptional case management to a complex family experiencing quite chronic and significant cumulative harm. And this has required years of intensive case management and genuine partnerships with Lakijika and VACA. We had an unfortunate outcome in the Children's Court and decided to appeal that decision. A quality of the practice allowed for a successful Supreme Court appeal. The team was solid in their evidence, focused on working with children, and have worked on case practice tasks to provide all possible assistance to the family. They'd also listened to the children. Hard work, determination, but focused work always pays off. So congratulations. And those are the nominees. So now I think to the next really important part is we will now announce the winners of the Chief Practitioner Awards for 2020. So we will start with statewide services. Congratulations. I think that's absolutely wonderful achievement to our After Hours In Reach team. And again, been really flexible, creative, and they've kept children safe. For the North Division, the winner is So the next winner, of course, we now go to the south, and the winner is and the east, the winner in the east is as follows. The Child Protection Practice Group. So as you can see, we've got amazing winners this year, of course. And now what I would like to do is actually take you to a special award that we have established this year. And that award goes to, it's a recognition award, and it is for secure welfare. It is a special mention award to acknowledge that this team has consistently held hope for children when circumstances for them have been so dire. I wanted to say thank you to Secure Welfare and really provide acknowledgement to them, because I know how much it is that we all appreciate what it is that they do and how they do hold children safe. So congratulations, Secure Welfare. So I'm going to hand over now to Minister Donnellan. It has been a real pleasure for me to announce the winners. Minister, over to you.
Thank you, Tracy. I'm just going to say, put it simply, thank you very much to the winners for your pursuit of excellence, for quality practice, and really being focused on the most important thing. At the end of the day, it's the outcome for the kids. So, just congratulations, because God, it's been a bloody awful time for everybody to work in the sector, in the sense of it's so more difficult because you can't see people face to face. But I just really wanted to say it's just so uplifting to see people continually push themselves because of their passion and their care and their love for children. So, I can't really say much more than that. You're marvellous people. You really are. With that in mind, and I've had one of these weeks where my empathy levels are getting a bit low because of, I'm turning into Captain Grumpy. And I guess that highlights to me the importance of me, to be blunt, letting off a bit of steam and stop being grumpy. But the fact that you as workers in this field every day of the week are being told difficult stories, and you need to, I guess, in many ways, give yourself that sense of a break from that and ensure that your health's great, because it's no use being passionate about helping others if you're not in a good mental state yourself. And I'm sort of just reflecting on my week, and yesterday I was an incredibly grumpy bugger by the last digital session I had, and that just meant my empathy levels were far too not where they should be. And I know that's just a sign of I've got to turn off for a while and make sure I'll just reinvigorate myself. So I guess my simple message is you're doing marvellous work, you really care, but for goodness sake, take care of yourselves. I know the department and others has various wellbeing supports and so forth, but even if it's not taking up those wellbeing supports, give yourself a break, pat yourself on the back, say you're doing a marvellous job, which you are, recognise that. And, I always say, don't flog yourself. Let other people flog you if you think you've made a mistake. Let someone else do it, but don't you join in, because that's no good for your mental health. Get out there and do that marvellous work you're doing. And thank you very much for just the love and the care you share every day, and take care of yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. And I think most probably all of West might be a little bit grumpy with me, because actually I didn't announce the West Award. So in my haste reading through such amazing nominations, I missed the West Award. So what we'll do now is, of course, give you my sincere apologies and announce the winner of the West Award, because we were actually very excited to see this nomination. And so let's put our hands together for the Central Highlands Area Case Practice Support Team, who are the winners of the Chief Practitioner Award for West Division. On that note, I think it's really important that maybe now you make some time to celebrate with your colleagues. What amazing nominations we've had. Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, PPs, for pulling all of that work together. I wish you a wonderful end to Child Protection Week, And before I close, I'd really like to acknowledge the work of the Office of Professional Practice in bringing this together. And again, my congratulations to all of the nominees and, of course, the winners. And I agree with you, Minister. It's really important that we take care of ourselves. And, of course, we've got a wellbeing session planned for later on this afternoon. So thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful afternoon. Good afternoon.